Driving over the dam over here. Pond on both sides. About to get on 280. Got a green light. Turning right. I think I got enough gas to get home. I need to check on my baby chickens though because I don't know how good the door got shut. I don't know about none of that. Ooh. I'm glad my air conditioner decided to work in my truck today. It's iffy. There's some problems with the computer in the truck, and it just sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Maybe I need to send Gabe the link to my channel because he said he didn't come in his feed. He might be subscribed, so I don't know. I don't know if he knows where my channel is at. YouTube issue. I don't know. I don't know what they talking about. I heard somebody's feelings. I don't know. Y'all see that in the comments? They saying that YouTube might issue a warning message to their creators. I guess I better check my email. I know they got AI running around, checking words and stuff. But I put on there, I don't monetize my channel. And I say my channel's not made for kids. Sometimes I talk about political stuff. Sometimes I just say, like, I don't know if I might have got reported, because I had a viewer watching. And I said something, Gabe was saying something about something. And I said, as a demographic, they're not net taxpayers. And that's a fact. And they quit watching. Maybe they got mad, got offended, reported the channel. But it is a fact. It normally takes about 3 generations before they become net taxpayers. As a demographic, they're not net taxpayers. White men, Asian men, and Jewish men, my demographic, are net taxpayers. Every other demographic costs more money than they pay in taxes. And so really, as a demographic, I'm not talking about as individuals, but as demographic, it's white men, Asian men, and Jewish men pretty much bearing the tax burden for everybody else. And you can say that people like really are, I mean, you can make different arguments about, well, who is supporting the gross domestic product, where's labor coming from, and all that other, but just the simple fact of it is that people don't fairly pay taxes, and people don't fairly pull their weight. And you can't really claim that you're this big benefit to the economy if you're pulling more money out of the system than you're putting into the system. You're a load on the system. And so I don't know if because I said something about that, because I noticed the comment like later, I didn't see it when I was driving, but I saw it was a Spanish name after I got done saying it. And they left the channel, and then now I got this YouTube saying stuff about warnings about violating standards or whatever, but it could be about something else. I'm talking about a lot of stuff, but shit. There's nothing really wrong with saying that Hispanics as a demographic are not net taxpayers in America. That's factually true. Some pay taxes, others don't. And what you normally have is they've got a culture of sharing. So if you're in a Mexican family and you're working, you're expected to share your money with other people in the family that are not working. And so when you're out and about, you see the hardworking Mexicans at work. But what you don't see is the members of their family that don't work, that are on every type of government assistance available, and also bumming money off the ones that do work. And that's like sort of the hidden unseen burden is all the people that you don't see that are eating off the system and not paying anything in. Hello. So it's just, but there's no way that you're going to, if you was to tell the truth 100% all of the time, you're going to lose your channel. If you talk about that, because the truth is uncomfortable to people, and different truths hurt different people's feelings, and people just expect people to play pretend a lot for the sake of people's insecurities and feelings. And I mean, I'm not an egalitarian. I don't know what to tell you. I think it's a lot of our culture is based on a lie, and almost all cultures are based on a fundamental lie, and it's to shore up people's insecurities. So let's say you don't earn it, you don't work to deserve it, you're just a lazy bum, you want to feel like you're just as good as somebody that works really hard and helps the community, and you're just not. And people will say things like, nobody's better than anybody. So you're not better than the child molester? I beg to differ. Some people are better than other people, and they deserve it. Not everybody deserves the same level of respect. Some people are out here being total degenerate, parasitic fools. And you can't expect me to respect them as much as honorable men and women. And if you respected everybody equally, you're rewarding people for bad behavior. So I can be the bad guy. I can be unpopular. I can be that guy. But democracy's foolish because you're having a bunch of people that know nothing about governing, outvoting those who do. You're having people who don't believe in duty or responsibility outvote people who do. And it just doesn't work. Now, aristocracy gets corrupted because you have people that are not really the nobles. They're not really the best, but the best rule is rule by the best. Those who are the best at ruling should rule. Those who are the best at flying airplanes should fly airplanes. Those that are the best at teaching math should teach math. Those that are the best at, if you're the best at something, you should be in charge of it. But what we do is we want to make everybody feel good. We want to cushion everybody's feelings, the people who put in the work, the people who don't. Nobody is just, it ain't nobody's fault, but you are born with certain potentials. Some people are more beautiful. Some people are smarter. Some people are stronger. Some people have more strength of willpower. And then you choose a lot of who you are. You develop your character. And some people, they put a lot into developing their character and being honorable and giving a lot to the community. And then there are people that say, I'm going to be a leech. And it's a real problem when you have huge swaths of people saying, I'm going to be a leech and I'm going to leech off of you. But here's the positive side of that. If you can survive your leeches, you're just going to be even more stronger than them and you're just going to keep winning. And that's what we're doing. We just keep winning. Put a tax burden on us. Us, white men, Asian men, Jewish men, are net taxpayers of the country. Everybody else pulls more than they put in. We put in more than, so you're just making it stronger. And then still hate, keep hating, keep being jealous. We'll keep feeding your children. They'll tax us more and more and more. And the stress of that will just evolve us further. And we can handle it. We can bear the burden. But don't get mad at me if I just point out the facts of it. Don't get mad if you're not a net taxpayer. If you don't like it, be a net taxpayer. If you don't like it, don't apply for every bit of assistance. I don't. You know what I'll do? I'll plant a garden. I'll shoot a deer. So it's like, I got the right to speak on it. Because right now I'm paying property taxes. I'm paying taxes out of my check. I'm working for everything I get. I'm not stealing from nobody. And I'm not mooching off the government. I'm not having nobody be put in jail for not paying their taxes and then part of their money be taken away to feed me. I'm a grown man. I feed myself. I feed my woman. We work. So I just reject fully this idea that it's not like the whole world's our children. I don't think that I'm responsible to pay the taxes for everybody, but that's what they're doing. They take the money from the young and give it to the old, the money from the men and give it to the women, and they take the money from the white people and the Asians and the Jews and they give it to the blacks and the Mexicans. And the Mexicans, there's hardworking Mexicans that pay taxes, but they got more people in their family on government assistance and bumming off them that don't. So we can ignore it or we can be in denial about it. And I know a lot of hardworking Mexicans that are net taxpayers, but it doesn't change the fact that when you average them all together, they're not. There's a whole bunch of them coming over here just getting on benefits and not contributing to the economy at all. That's not sustainable. And then we got $2 trillion of wealth being transferred to white people to black people through all kind of different social programs. And you can pretend, you can pretend whatever, but that's what it is. We're the slaves. They talk like we're the privileged ones. We're not the privileged ones. We don't get 53 points put on our score when we go into college admissions. We don't get any kind of special scholarships. And we don't get any kind of like special treatment. As a matter of fact, we are the slaves because we're having to pay the debts and the taxes for the other people. So you got people that are not working, sitting on their ass, living off of the rest of the people. Same as there was the slave masters with the slaves. The Democrats ain't changed. The slave master has went from somebody sitting on a plantation to somebody swiping an EBT card. The slaves have just changed from being the blacks and the indentured servants and all. The slaves have just changed from them to the people who work and pay their taxes. And they're the slaves to the people that sit on their ass. And they get the government to use force and violence. You don't pay someone that cracked the whip, but you have the cops that come put you in jail if you don't pay your taxes. And now your taxes are going to get taken from you. And they're going to be given to the people that don't work. That's slavery now. So don't come at me talking about I'm privileged when my labor is being stolen from me for you. And about 100 illegal American immigrants to Mexico get physically grabbed by the people and thrown out. And then they want to say that we're in the wrong if we don't just let unlimited people come here. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't care. We're under no obligation to bear the burden of supporting the reproduction of those who hate us. But that's what we're doing. There's a whole bunch of people that hate us. They would love to see us dead. They'd love to see us in chains. They'd love to see us fall because we're on top. And we're paying the taxes so they could out-reproduce us. And in a fair competitive system, they wouldn't be able to compete. And that's why they artificially go in, take money from this group and give to that group. But I done lost all my viewers. I done said enough, I guess, for the women to quit watching, whatever else. But to everybody, and this includes, because it's not like your average doesn't show you every individual, okay? So shout out to everybody that's the exceptions. Shout out to all the people that you may be in that demographic, but you are not like them. Everybody that's out there making the world better, everybody that's contributing, God bless you. And God bless all the Mexicans that are just good, decent people that add more to the economy than to take away from it. I'm glad that there's so many like that. But let's not pretend that there isn't more that aren't like that. That are coming from after everything's built to get something for free. I mean, it's not the same. It's not the same as braving the dangers of being attacked by Indians or the French or the British and coming to a land where there's nothing and building. That's not the same as showing up to not work a job, to apply for food, free food, and coming in after everything's built. It's not the same type of immigrant, and don't pretend that it is. And it's not the same kind of immigrant that says, hey, I'm going to come here legally. But I want to say something about who should really be getting punished the hardest. It seems to be completely unpunished. And that's all the boomers that sold out future generations to exploit illegal cheap labor. How come all these boomers that do not pay an honest wage, that exploit people for being illegal and pay them less than what their labor is worth and drive down labor to where Americans can't make enough, how come they're not being punished? Because I'm saying, you wouldn't even have the problem of illegal immigration if you didn't have so much treasonous boomers employing them. So there's your real problem that you got to deal with. All these ones that would sell out their country and sell out their people to have a little bit more money. All these, all these business owners that are like age 50 to 65 that own all this illegal labor. Why ain't they being put in jail? Because that's your real problem right there. They're the problem. I mean, I'm saying, of course, the illegal immigrants are problems too, but of course, there's a lot of incentive for them to want to come and make that money. And look at who's paying them to come. It's a bunch of people who decided they'd break the law and then hire the illegal immigrant labor. Because instead of paying, back in the day when it first started to escalate to be a problem, minimum wage was down to like $5 an hour and they're paying 50 cents an hour. And the illegals could band together in kind of a commune and buy beans and rice and put a whole bunch of kids in a trailer where DFACS would take white people's kids from it, but they won't take the Mexicans' kids if they put that many of them in a trailer and be the rest. So they was able to afford to live off these. But you really should. That's what I'm saying. The people who hired and exploited illegal immigrants, they need to be held accountable, and they're not. And the problem wouldn't be here if it wouldn't be for them. They didn't care about if their grandchildren could afford homes. They're bringing a whole bunch of people to compete for their homes, compete for their jobs. It's the boomer generation that said, we'll look the other way and hire illegal immigrants. Fuck our grandchildren. Fuck the future. We'll be dead before that happens. And sold the country out. So go after them. And I mean, that's enough of that. So, and they're the ones that get the most mad at me when they kept saying, nobody wants to work, nobody wants to work. We got to hire the illegal immigrants because white people don't want to work. Well, I put that to the test when I had my little Operation Bell and Pine Straw, and I asked white American citizens if they wanted to work, and they did. And they come out and they work just as good. And so, and I could afford to pay them too. There was enough profit margin to pay them. I didn't have to pay somebody way less than what they're worth and exploit that they were illegal. It's just I wasn't as greedy. With that other generation, they're so greedy they don't care. It's all about the money for them. And because it's all about the money for them and they're greedy, they're willing to exploit people like that. But I'm telling you, you can do it. I did it in Wheeler County. You can get white people that are legal to bale pine straw, to do all this hard labor you think you can't. There are people waiting to do it. It's just they've been forced out by really cheap labor. And now that they've been forced out and the cheap labor, the illegal immigrants, they're starting to raise their prices too. And it's really, I really hate that you had two generations that didn't invest nothing in training their kids or any skills, and now they want to bitch about it. Now they want to talk about how incompetent the youth are, how they don't have no skills. You're really admitting that you did a shitty job raising them. Like, you're really making yourself look bad, but you don't see it that way. But that's, every time I hear it, that's all I hear. I hear, so you neglected your children? So you didn't prepare them for the future? And now you want to brag about how you're better than them because you know how to do things they don't know how to do? Why didn't you teach them? And why didn't you care about the future generations? And why did you sell them out? Why didn't you know your grandchildren would need homes? Why'd you sell them out to the whole world? Why didn't you look after posterity like every generation before you? So I just don't really have very much patience to hear them complain. And I'm not going to do that when I get old. Because how am I going to be old complaining about the generations that come after me when it was my responsibility to train them, to show them, to lead them? So I just feel like you should kind of take responsibility. And I mean, I also think that each person should take personal responsibility, and it is only an individual. But I just think it looks really bad to try to shit talk the generations after you when you're the generation that raised them. So I just don't. And they'll talk a lot about accountability and everything, but then they don't take accountability. Where do you think they got it from? Where do you think they learned it from? Who did they copy? Who did they imitate? So you really, it's to see the generations after you is to look into a mirror, but people don't catch that. They'll say, this is the consequences of my actions. They don't even know how to write in cursive. Well, you watch TV for 6 hours a day. Why didn't you teach your kids cursive? I know the school should teach them, but I'm just saying, if you think it's so important that they know cursive, you're retired, you got plenty of time, why don't you teach them cursive? Now, of course, it's easier to read text and it's faster to text on the phone than writing cursive, so cursive has become completely obsolete. But still, anyway, if you think it's important that they know cursive or how to ride a horse, teach them. Which I know how to write in cursive. That's not why I'm talking shit about it, but also you got to know the times you live in. Why would someone, if they can type 10 times faster than you could write in cursive and you could read the typed out stuff better than cursive, why would they teach kids how to write cursive anymore? You know, so you don't even know how to do algebra. Now, most of y'all that are talking about cursive, y'all don't even know how to do algebra. So, yeah, let me go on that. I heard so much about that from my granny. They don't even know how to write in cursive. You don't know how to do basic algebra that they know how to do since they was in middle school. So I really think that the best way to educate is to give people access to the knowledge and teachers, and then let their passions guide them. Like, some people are just never going to be good at math. Some people are not going to be good at literature. And everybody has their own interest in what they're naturally good to. And so I think, if you got somebody that's just born to be a math wizard, they should be able to do college math while other people are doing third grade math. They shouldn't be held back to the rest of the class. People should be able to go at their own speed in any direction of any type of subject that they want to go into. I think if that was to be done, it would be way more effective. Because basically you're only able to be strong as the weakest link in the chain in the current system. Because you train 30 kids, they've got to study in every subject, the ones that they like, the ones that they don't like, the ones that they're good at, the ones that they're not good at. And the teacher has to try to get everyone in the class to pass. So you might have one student that could already be 3 grades ahead, but the teacher's having to slow down and help the kid that's about to fail. And so I think it'd be good if you could just go ahead and take the test when you're ready for the test. Go ahead and grab the next book when you're ready for the next book. And let basics, in every single subject should learn. But at a certain point, once they get a certain age, she'll let them just choose where they want to go. Of course, this would be a more expensive type of education. You need more education. Native American, especially. I'm not a Mexican. I'm a Browning. I'm Paul Dustin. I'm not a Mexican. I'm a Browning. I'm Paul Dustin Browning. And my daddy's Jeffrey Clayton Browning. And my brain was so hot, I was getting stuff mixed up on a different live stream, and I mixed a great grandfather with a great great grandfather. But I'm legal. I was born in Atlanta in Grady Hospital. Both of my parents are American citizens. My mama's maiden name is Lori Miller. My daddy's name is Jeffrey Browning, and I am an American citizen. And my daddy was an American citizen, and his 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 daddy before him was Irish, but Scots Irish, and probably a British citizen. And he come to New York for just in his lifetime, and then they moved to Georgia, and been in Georgia ever since. So I'm the 5th generation living in Wheeler County. No kind of way am I Mexican. I would say at this point I'm a Native American because I was born in America. My daddy was born in America. His daddy was born in America. His daddy was born in America. I mean, his daddy before him was born in Ireland, but lived most of his life in America, in New York and in Georgia. So, and I don't identify as Native American, really. I mean, as far as like indigenous, because the most Native American is from my mama's side, and it's my mama's daddy's mama was half Indian. So that's not really a lot of Native Americans. So I just really identify as white, really. But like, that's why that look is there, why some people say, are you a Mexican? Or my brother Noah or Luke, they ask them if they're Mexican. No, we're not Mexican. We're Scots Irish. And there's just a little tiny splash of Native American. But we're really Irish, really. With a little bit of German, a little bit of English mixed in. And I done showed on one of these live streams. I done showed my license on one of these live streams. I don't know if y'all asked that to fuck with me or if y'all for real. But I mean, I don't know how I can have a strike against my channel with all the other channels I'm watching on YouTube these days. YouTube's starting to let people really say stuff. Like I'm watching Bam Bazira or whatever and Shameless Berg. So if y'all really gonna give me something just because I'm a small content creator, because I said something about who are net taxpayers and who are not, or is it because I'm not allowed to say I'm not egalitarian? I mean, I'm just not egalitarian. I believe in genetics. I believe in the laws of hereditary. I believe that, intelligence, physical, bio, all kind of different. What the efficiency of your nerves is genetic. The structure of your brain is genetic. The structure of your heart and liver is genetic. I'm not one of the fools out here pretending that like a Labrador is going to act like a Labrador and a Chihuahua is going to act like a Chihuahua, but the laws of genetics are just suspended when it comes to humans, and everybody's just equal because somebody said so. Get out of here with that fuck shit. If you're being honest, ain't nothing in nature equal. It diversifies to fit different niches. What's beneficial today might not be. Now, I'm not a supremacist now because we don't know the future. So let's say you think, okay, the most important thing is IQ. But then life gets so harsh and it wins out whoever's the most fertile. Or what if it just gets so hot and the only person that's going to survive is who can stand the most heat? Or it gets so cold and it's whoever can survive has the most cold. So that's why nature diversifies. It makes a diverse amount of any type of species because we don't know what's going to change in the future. And so it's impossible to say that one group's superior to another. You cannot say a Chihuahua is superior to a Labrador unless you can look millions of years into the future and see which lineage survives, which doesn't. And so I'm not a supremacist, but I'm also just not going to stick my head in the sand. I expect Chihuahuas to act like Chihuahuas. I expect golden retrievers to act like golden retrievers. I expect a mule deer to act like a mule deer and a white-tailed deer to act like a white-tailed deer. I expect a yellow buff Orpington chicken to act like a yellow buff Orpington chicken and a Rhode Island red rooster. A Rhode Island rooster is going to be more aggressive than a yellow buff Orpington rooster. You know this. A Chihuahua is going to be more likely to bite somebody than a golden retriever. A golden retriever is going to be more gentle handing you a bird than a terrier. So why do you turn your brain off when it comes to humans and you say, nope, they all got the same. It's all just the nature. It ain't got nothing to do with DNA. I'm sorry. Like, call me whatever. I'm not going to be stupid so everybody else can feel good. I'm not going to do it. So I'm a realist about that. I believe in the laws of hereditary and genetics and everything. And humans are not exempt just because we don't like the way it feels for us to, we want to be God. We want to say we determine everything about ourselves. And really, a lot of it's out of our control. We don't choose our ancestors. We don't choose our DNA, but our DNA encodes for every single protein in our body. And you would be a fool to think that the DNA that you're born with has nothing to do with who you are and what you can be. And that's the end of this live stream, but I don't know if I'm going to keep the channel, but because YouTube be sending me messages and warnings. Warning, be the Borg. Say what we say, you can say, be the Borg. Get out of here with that. I'm not going to be the Borg.